Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Do make sure that you're subscribed and also do like the video. I hope that you guys are watching Kwanele Bazali, the new show on Mzansi Magic. But if you're not watching, don't worry about it. I'll tell you what's happening on that show. This is a really good show, you guys, in terms of like the concept of the show is good and needed, because there are so many families where there's conflicts and people haven't spoken to each other in a long time. Sometimes you'll be forgetting what the people are fighting about in the family. You just know that this aunt and this aunt don't talk to each other. They don't like this uncle and whatever. This one is in the middle. So that's a kind of a show. They are trying to bring the families together. So there will be kids that are writing to the show to say, listen, we are tired. We don't even know why they don't get along, our parents, but we want to be able to hang out. We want to be able to help each other just in life in general. So can we figure out a way where they can come together and forgive each other? Because now when we spend time together, they are getting upset that we are spending time together. Listen, if you are like and you get along with your siblings, you get along with your cousins, listen, keep it that way, okay? Because it makes life easier for the children to get along when they see you as the parents get along. Now, what I think is wrong with this show, though, you guys, is that we do have a presenter that is doing the show, but this is not somebody that is experienced in conflict resolution. So it feels like they just bring the kids tell their story, and then the presenter is like, oh, okay, wow, that is shocking. Then they bring the parents together, and then the parents are going at each other, and then later on they're asked, do you forgive each other, or can you forgive each other? They're like, because the parents are stubborn. The parents are like, no, I'm not forgiving, and then they just go. So it just feels like the show now is like a rehashing of whatever it is that has gone wrong in the family, but there is no resolution. So the 2 episodes that I have watched so far, people have not forgiven each other. I do feel like for this show to work, if the goal of the show, unless it's just entertainment, they just want us to be listening to these people's stories and be watching these people fight, and that's all. But if the goal of the show was to resolve whatever it is that is going on in the family, they should have brought in maybe a conflict resolution expert. We needed a psychologist, because abanye, you're like, I got to when now you are not even okay. We're worried about your mental health. Okay, some of these people that are coming on this show. So that is one thing that is wrong with this show, is that I don't think we're going to see a lot of families that are going to forgive each other, because the fights here about like childhood traumas, this whole thing of parents not treating children the same and having a favorites, and then the next thing they die, and then they are expecting that after they die the kids are going to get along. So we're dealing with something like that, something that is so deep, most of these families. So I don't know how they expected that it was going to work when they just bring somebody to present the show, but there isn't any professional help that these families are getting, and they think that just one episode also is going to resolve it. It's like, it kind of feels like it should be a boot camp kind of a situation. Like families should go to boot camp and they should bring in the experts and then see, with a series of like counseling, they can get to a point where they get along with each other. So the first episode, you guys, we have always Nontombi almost look like twins. Okay, they look very much alike. They're around the same age. They get along. They're cousins. Now, you guys, with them getting along, the parents don't get along. So their mothers are sisters, but they don't get along. Now, don't be and always will have a good relationship to a point where one of them had a child and got a job and took a child, gave it to a cousin and said, cousin, I need somebody to take care of my child and I need to go work. The cousin is like, of course, bring the child and take care of the child. The arrangement works perfectly for both of them until one of the mothers visit their child in Joburg and finds a child there and says, when one says, cousin, the mother gets mad. Why are you taking care of up to a point where she had to take the child and give it back to her cousin and said, listen, my mother says that she does not want your child here, so I don't know what to do. She says that the child is going to teach me to bewitch, okay, because and then the cousin had to get the child. Now, you guys, with that, also one of the cousin is going through the whole thing of becoming, I guess, sangoma, okay? Because so she's in a spiritual journey of some sort, and she says that whole thing is not going to work if the family is not getting along. So it's the priority is to get the mothers to get along. Now, let's talk about the mothers. The mothers, there are 3 siblings, okay? So with the 3 siblings, the one that it looks like is a problem, a big problem, is the one that is the oldest, okay? The one that is the mother to the one that has a child, okay? Now, you guys, here is the thing. If you just look at you don't think about what has caused the conflicts. Really, honestly, the firstborn looks like a horrible person. She looks like a horrible mother, because it does look like even her daughter has had a really, really difficult time, like dealing with her. At some point, she was kicked out of a house, and obviously the cousin was the only one that could help her because she had a baby, that very same baby that the other aunt didn't want the other cousin to take care of. Now, you guys, if you just look at that and just listen to that story, you would think this is just an evil woman, okay? Well, she's not a saint, okay? Let me say that. But there is a reason for it. There is a back story as to how she got to be the way that she was, okay? I still do think that unenhliziyo empilo wamama, kodwa ke inhliziyo embi yakhe inayo i-background. She says, when she tells the story, when they were growing up, she wasn't really seen by her parents. Okay, this is like the first one. She wasn't really seen by her parents. She wasn't recognized by her parents. Everything was about the middle child, okay, which is the sister that the one that kicked the child away and said, no, you're not taking care of this child. She says that everything was about her. She was given everything, when they were growing up, and she really had a good childhood, even though they had the same parents. So she did not have, that childhood that the other one, the second born, had, okay? So when the parents passed away, it was an opportunity for her to pay back, okay? This is the first one that is telling the story, okay? Now the last born, because there are 3 girls, now the last born is the one that is caught in the middle of these 2, okay? The last born says that, listen, as far as I know, I don't know, I'm not sure what caused the conflicts between the 2 of them. But what I remember is that when our mother passed away, because the parents are no longer living, when our parents passed away, we had cows at home. The firstborn comes to me, so the firstborn goes to the lastborn and says, listen, I've sold my mother's cows. We are going to share whatever money that I made from selling the cows. So the last one is like, oh, okay, that's good. Then that means we are going to share the money 3 ways, because there's 3 sisters. The older sibling says, no, we are going to only share between the 2 of us. I'm going to give you 30% of the money. I take 70%. Forget about the witch, okay? That one has been living well from our parents treating us well this whole time, so she doesn't need to be getting the cows, okay? The last one takes the money, even though she does not understand why they are not sharing it with the middle sister, takes the money, and then the older one takes the 70%, okay? They move on with life. She says that now the older sister lived in Joburg, okay, at some point, and she makes a call and says that she wants the middle sister to come and live with her. The younger sister, because this was something that was worrying for her, that the sisters don't get along, she's happy. She's like, okay, finally my sisters are going to get along, okay? Now, when the middle sister goes and lives with the older sister, that's where hell begins, because when she gets there, the older sister is like, Lalela, sisi, you are not here to sit on your butt, you need to start working. Here is a taxi rank, nanga madoda driver ma taxi, see ukuthi ungathola bangaki laphana, fanele silale sihlile la. So basically the older sister became a pimp. Yes, she pimped her own sister to the taxi drivers. The taxi drivers, listen, okay, if I had to pimp my sister, I would at least find some millionaires to pimp her too. She pimped her sister to the taxi drivers, okay? So there was a situation when she lived in Joburg. So the younger sister was thinking the sisters, now are making peace and whatever. And, but no, she was just wanting another client as a pimp in Joburg. Okay. Now, you guys, the younger sister is left behind. But, there's no money that is being sent back home. And now at some point, she had to marry a man that she didn't love because the sisters were not taking care of her. But, there, I was feeling sorry for her. But there was a part of me that was feeling like, how old were you when you married this man? Because, listen, whether I feel sorry for her, at that point depends on how old she was. If she was underage, being forced to marry this man because she needed something to eat, then I feel sorry for her. But if she was of age, I'm kind of feeling like, then, everybody should be taking care of themselves. They didn't have parents at that time. So, why would you expect that your older sister will be taking care of you? But anyway, you guys. She says that only later, she was thinking that the sisters are living well in Joburg and they're getting along and all of that. Only later did she realize when the middle sister told her, the person is calling me to Joburg in jail, ufunang your prostitute. This is how we're earning money. Okay. Now, you guys, it's time for a sit down. Okay. It's time for a sit down. And let me tell you something. When the mothers saw each other, they were like, listen, why did you bring us here? The one is calling the other the witch, and the other one is calling the other one a witch, okay? Listen, when you look at those families, the way that they hate each other, like, yeah, listen, even if so the kids are trying to beg, guys, we need to talk. The person, though, that looks like she is really, really evil and wants this whole thing to go on is the older one. However, I do feel like the older sister needs counseling because I do feel like she was really treated badly by the parents. And so right now she's feeling like, now all of you are expecting me to treat you well when I wasn't treated well by the parents, when it's time now for payback. Okay. Of course, the peace situation really doesn't work because the younger sister wants them to get along, but the older sister is like, we are not doing it, and the middle sister is just crying and crying and crying because she was pimped. Okay. Now, you guys, I did feel like I felt like at this point, without any counseling and all of that, it is a good thing for them to just go their separate ways because I feel like bazothakathana, bazofakelana poison, bazobulalana, But I felt like the show is still good for them because I think the younger sister was able to talk about things that happened to her when the other sisters were in Joburg and she needed something to eat and she was in a desperate situation. The middle sister was able to talk about that whole story of where she was pimped by her own sister. Yes. Okay. So she was able to talk about that and they were crying. The older sister was like, listen, your tears do nothing for me. Okay. Your tears do nothing to me. Okay. So there is no peace that anybody's going to get here. Okay. At some point, they wanted to physically fight. I'm like, grandmothers. Okay. Your knees, your arthritis. How are you going to fight? Okay. So there was no peace. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to the show, is that at the end, you feel like, what was the point of this show? Because at the end of the day, they are not forgiving each other. At the end of the day, they don't even make promises to to maybe in the future make an effort to get along. It doesn't happen. Okay, it does not exist. So I do feel like, you guys, we just need an expert. Okay, it's just that, with these shows on Mzansi Magic, the experts that they've been bringing to these shows have been questionable. But I absolutely feel like this was such a good show. Not only was Mzansi Magic going to gain in terms of course, us watching the show and them making money, but I think that these families could have gained something if this show was done right. Okay, for now, it's a Moja Live show. Okay, we would have accepted it if it was a Moja Live show, because on Moja Live it's and then they go home. Okay, but on Mzansi Magic we are expecting some resolutions, and there is none. Anyway, you guys, listen. A lesson from this episode really was just that you need to treat your children fairly and equally, because that thing can affect generations. Okay, now the kids want to hang out and they are not able to hang out because the parents don't get. But these are not even the parents that say, listen, I don't like my sister, but I don't mind you hanging out with her kids. These are parents that are like, listen, I don't want anything to do with her. If you hang out with her and her kids, that means that you don't want anything to do with me. So parents, do the right thing. Love your kids equally. Otherwise, the next generation and the one after that, they will still be fighting about what they don't even know. Anyway, thank you so much. Ngitanda kakhulu.